Indie housing market. Get the latest insights right here.
Welcome back to Indie Housing Market. I'm Kyle Morris with Morris Property Group and FC Tucker.
And I'm Shelly Walters with the Shelly Walters Realtor Group and FC Tucker.
And today we have, you want to jump right in. We've been like going at it here before this, just so everybody knows, man. I'm like wore out. I need to take a nap. We were talking so much. We have Laura Turner with FC Tucker. And the Laura Turner is a group.
Realty group.
Realty group.
Yep.
Looking back, you know, it's weird when you build a team and you're like, how do we do this right? And then, like, do you ever think, like, oh, I could have said that better?
Oh, yeah. I've thought about, like, my name and everything. I was like, it's too long. Laura Turner, Realty Group.
Well, that's like, when I had mine, Shelly Walters Realty Group, I'm like, what are we going to call it? What are you going to call it? And that's all I ended up with.
Yeah.
I thought mine would be great because it's like property group and, like, people will know. And we could do so many people, so many different things. And people will come up to me like, so do you do rentals? I'm like, I have, like, one, man. Like, I probably should have named this.
But it's a group. It's a group. So, oh, my gosh.
I see all the names of teams out there, and I'm like, where'd you come up with that?
Right.
And it has nothing to do with real estate, you know? It's like, so where does name?
This is true.
Well, so I do think that's part, it's interesting. So Tucker didn't used to do that. Tucker does do that now. And part of it is it becomes very difficult for me to sell Morris Property Group to anybody other than my kids, right? Quite honestly, you know? So like, so I understand it. And I think it was very smart that Tucker pivoted because a lot of the industry had pivoted.
What do you mean?
So with FC Tucker in particular, back in the day, it had to be under the primary lead agents.
Yes,
the name had to be part of the team name.
Okay.
And then I don't know, maybe 6 years ago or something, we started doing co-op where you could have multiple team name if it was like two team leads, and then it changed to it could be anything. But other brokerages had already done. I'd kind of like pivoted in that arena. I don't think it super matters other than like the idea of potentially selling something, or, you know, we talked a lot about teams and we can discuss this on here as well. The idea of like somebody who is on your team and then like thinking that you get more attention or I get more attention or whatever, when like even me and my team member Bo were talking about this morning, you know, like they get us. Yeah. Like that's what matters when we kind of sell everything. Right. Is they get us as a whole team, and so it's a difficult thing to navigate sometimes. But, anyways, so you are on here. We've had to reschedule a couple times. I'm super excited for you to be on here because we've never got to really sit and hang out. We do live pretty close to each other, and
we just discovered that.
Yeah, and I've also like constantly like the whole time, like as I've been growing this, like you've just been one of the people that is like ahead of me, and that I'm like trying to like I look at what you do, and I'm like, how do I do that, and does that get me to where I'm at, and like it's kind of like, am I on the right path to continue this? And there's a couple people like that.
For
everybody.
15 years, but 14 years was FC Tucker. So, but before that, I worked for a builder. So for 5 years with Estridge Companies, and that was my platform. And I say, I started when I was 12.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Well, so I just remember when I met her, I had an investment property, and she was working with investors, and we were both just kind of.
We very much jive the same. Yeah. Like we had the same energy.
It was so fun, and we just got to know each other that way. And I ran into you I remember meeting you on the front porch of one of
Harmony House.
Yes, you remember that. So it was just like it's funny how you remember where I can remember exactly the living room we were standing in. I remember the front porch we were standing in. Yeah. So
And at one point in time, we were interested in buying a property in Sweetwater, which I still kick myself to this day.
Oh, you could have made a lot of money.
Oh, I know. You showed us properties, if you remember that. And I was like, we're going to go through Shelly because she's like the person for Sweetwater. Like, that's it. And then we go down there, and then we didn't end up, buying it. And then it resold like 5 years later, and it's worth 3 times as much.
That's crazy.
That was a big miss, but that's okay.
Well, and I just kind of say, I know Sweetwater is a great place, and we were there for 16 years, but man, those prices, I want to see an ocean in front of me.
I know. It's
amazing. It is a beautiful lake, though.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
When I was running the stats, I was looking at a house up on Morris, and I saw the price, and I was like, what? Because when I looked at the house, I was like, this is not that. And I was like, oh, no, it's okay, I guess. It shouldn't have two commas.
South Harbor, too, those houses, a lot of them, they've never been updated or
right.
anything, and you're like,
you've got like 8-foot ceilings, not updated, and I know they're driving like some crazy prices. So
this one was a really good house. I really liked it, but I mean, it was over $1 million. It was in South Harbor.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's been fun though because I've seen that evolve though. Like literally over the 14 years that I've been with Tucker, I mean, I've seen that evolve because I remember going in properties that were completely distressed, like $300,000 on the lake. Seriously, like, and now like those same properties are going to be like 8 and 9. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, I had one in like, I want to say 5 years ago that people offered us $600 to bulldoze it.
Oh my God.
Well, that happens in downtown Carmel all the time. That's, you know, $500,000 house. Oh, that one's getting torn down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
nuts.
What I am amazed at is when people look at houses today and you just kind of like compare it to what it was 5 years ago. So we look at like a $300,000 house. Those were 150 maybe.
Right.
These are the same houses that were 150 are now 300. So the ones that were 300 are now 600. So what I'm trying to say is these houses were a type of house in a certain price point.
Sure.
Are hard to look at in the price point they're in right now and see the value, but that's what they are.
That's what they are. Yeah.
It's crazy.
But it's never going to go anywhere.
No,
you know?
it's not.
I mean,
Not
it just
now.
isn't.
Right. I mean, unless we
I've
have
worked
a
with
2008.
more first-time home buyers this year by referral that they're $500,000 buyers because they have to be to get into Carmel or you know wherever they're going to end up like for what they're looking for. So it does make me think about my kids. Like, what does affordable housing look like?
40-year-old is the average age of a first-time home buyer. I have 2 first-time home buyers I just put under contract too, and you know they're looking in the 200 to 250 range, and that's where I get to these houses were 80.
Yeah.
You know? And it's, you know, it's something that you really have to be, you know, prepared for to talk to them about. We've got to be careful that you're not going to be in a house that's going to cost you an arm and a leg to live in it.
Yeah.
Because they're just.
But
we
still,
bought our first house. We were like 22. We bought it like 79th and Harcourt, and it was a ranch, and we bought it for like 109.
Oh my gosh.
You know, I mean. And like that's crazy. I mean that doesn't happen anymore.
No.
I mean that's probably a $300,000 house now.
No, I'm sure.
Oh, at least.
I'm sure it is.
At least, yeah.
So it is interesting when when you talk about like you know affordable housing and first time home ownership, and so like that's one of the things you know we want to have you on here. We want to talk about obviously like you and your team and your growth. I in particular would like to talk about that, but like the market in general, like because you had a really good year last year. Was it your best year ever?
It was my best year.
Your best year ever,
Yep.
both personally and as a team.
Personally and as a team, yeah.
So, and I was telling you like last year, like it was actually my worst year in probably like 4 or 5 years. But the year before that was a record year, which was actually a super down year for a lot of people. Because we had like 7.5 interest rates.
Last year was a down year for everybody. So there's people like you that are saying it was my absolute best year.
There's a couple of people
though everybody's saying it was my absolutely worst year. So it's like feast or famine out there. Who's doing what? Yeah.
But I know some really like so. I think Biff had her best year. Mark Branch had his best year. He did really good. He's been doing a lot out by where you and I live. I've seen some like really good agents doing really well. Yourself, and it's kind of this thing. You know, I was like, we were talking about that, and you're like, it just happens. And you've been doing it a little bit longer. I don't know if you've ever had those kind of step back years and like what you do with it or how you react to it, and then can you actually say you did something different or it just worked out?
Yeah. I honestly, I mean, the only, my down year that I had, and I do think like, you know, if you have things in your life in order, you know, your faith, your family, everything, I realize says that, but I mean, I think that everything falls into place. The worst year I ever had to date was the year that we actually lost my father-in-law. And it was really hard to process that. But I think I did what I had to do and I stepped back a little bit, and that was my worst year I think I've ever had, and that was about 5 years ago now. But it's just weird. I can't explain how it comes to me as far as like my business. It's all repeat business. It's referral business. So it's like whatever I did.
It's just layered.
It is, but it's like whatever I did, you know, 5 to 7 years ago, they're coming back to me now. And I'm actually just now starting to see that. It's funny because I sent Tiffany, my transaction coordinator, I sent her a text. I was like, you know what I'm seeing? And she's like, duh. And I was like, I'm seeing people come back to me for like the 3rd time now. And she was like, yeah. Like, and so, but that is like growing my business. It's even more than what I was, you know, doing before because I have, you know, both, you know, over 1,500 homes. So I have those people coming back.
Or even their children all of a sudden. I'm starting to have children.
Exactly.
Over 1,500 homes.
Yeah. I don't know where it's at now. I'm not exact. I just know it's over 1,500, I guess, at this point. So.
Do you watch your numbers?
I watch, I actually, okay, so that's one thing. Maybe this played into it last year. There's a wonderful spreadsheet that I won't say who created it for me, but she knows who she is. But I track that because I do think that if you're dialed into where your business is coming from and in general. And I actually send my team an update every week, usually on Mondays or Tuesdays, of where we're at for the year. But I do track them because I feel like that gives us an idea as to where we're at. And I feel like if we have a goal of where to get, then that helps that, obviously. It's just, I can't say that, I'm like, oh, I'm behind the goal, so I got to do this. That's never the case. I just want to know where we're at.
We have a board in our office that has everything.
Yeah, we have that too.
I just think for everybody, seeing that we're doing stuff, I just think it matters.
I think it's really that, but I also think it's like, I'll show you. I think it's also like, being their cheerleader, because I'm good at that. But I send like an update to them every single week or whatever as to exactly where we're at. And I'm counting down the weeks as well, like just to kind of give them an idea of, and just to cheer them on.
It's the first quarter already.
It is. I can't believe that.
Okay.
That's
do
nuts.
you do this or do you have?
I do it.
You do that?
I do it. Yep. I actually keep track of it now on my own, and I do it. Yes. Like that was a game changer for me. I never did it though until last year.
And I don't watch my numbers at all.
Yeah. I never did that until last year, though.
Do you think that made a big difference?
I think it was a motivating factor. Yeah, it was a motivating factor or whatever, just to know exactly where I was at. I don't know.
So what are you counting? So just for people to know.
I count I'm looking at.
It says closed, pendings, actives, coming
what we've
soon.
closed year to date.
So we talk about this stuff, but I like that you text that.
Yeah.
Because I do think it matters. And to your point, so Shelly, like I don't track mine, but I track everybody else's.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious!
Because I'm like, hey, I'll be okay. Like I want them to.
Well, I know that I'm kind of the same way, but I want them to know. You know what? Because I also want them to utilize this too, as on my team. Like this is where we're at. We have a big market share, and you should be proud of that and use that to your advantage to create more business for yourself as well. Like that's kind of why I send that as well.
I like that.
Is it's a tool for them.
This is why I need to do better.
When did you? We always talk about what everybody does. It's all everybody does it a different way. When did you start your team? When did you decide
in 2015, which you just asked me how I came up with my team name, and it just kind of came to me in 2015, and it was kind of like fast and furious. I was drowning. I went to Zubilation and I listed like 5 houses that day. It was weird. Gosh. And I was in the bathroom like negotiating, and my husband was like, bopping around like Zubilation or whatever with our friends. He's like, yeah, like we've got to figure this out. So I was like, okay. So I started my team, and I remember Susan Wright coming to me, and like she needed it for the report. She's like, what do you want your team name to be? I was like, I don't know. I don't care. I was like, just do it. So that's actually how I think Laura Turner Realty Group was. The name came about. I really do, because I remember
like looking back, we could have
needed
done
it.
A little.
Oh yeah, like because I always have to think about the initials. Like but yeah, and now a lot of people call me LT. So like my logo is an L and a T.
No, that's not it. I was like, that's LV. So how did you determine your very?
Did you just say that?
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna let the just slide.
We're
like
that didn't happen.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Just ignore me. I'm over here. No, how did you decide? I know when I first decided I was going to do a team, or what's the first step? You did team member, or did you do assistant first?
I did team member. And it was somebody that I actually had worked with, and it was his wife that was getting into real estate. She happened to be a sorority sister of mine at Ball State. She's older than me, so we weren't there at the same time, but we had that common bond, and I just knew that I loved her family. I always looked up to her because she was raising 2 girls. Like she's just a couple steps ahead of me. They're 17 months apart too. So she was actually my first team member, and she, it was great just to have somebody, because I was sending overflow business outside of my team, and I wasn't even asking for a referral fee because I didn't know better. And I just was like, just take it, get it off my plate. Wow. So when I started my team, I was able to like kind of keep that in-house or whatever, and that's how I handled that. So, and I mean, I really, I started with her, and I had another gentleman. He's not in real estate at all anymore, but it's been I grew it very organically, like within my sphere. So.
And do you have an assistant and a transaction?
So I have a transaction coordinator, and it's amazing. It's a game changer. Late last year, I went back to my transaction coordinator, who I actually had on my team for a long time, and she'll laugh at this, but she wanted to start her own business, and if we didn't cut it off like cold turkey, like she was going to continue to do my stuff, and she wouldn't be able to spread her wings and build her own business. So she went out on her own and built this amazing transaction coordinating business. I was always under the mentality that I had to have that transaction coordinator on my team. They had to be under my umbrella. And I had people telling me that too. So I went out and I sought out, okay, this is who it's going to be. And then you try to fit somebody into a box that's not meant to be. So I do think I went back to Tiffany late last year in the fall, and my business has been crazy. I've been able to do more business because I've been able to pass off those things. But I very much still engage with my clients. Like,
you're right.
Yeah, I'm still very much hands-on, but I'm not pushing the paperwork. I'm a people person. I'm not a paperwork person.
Right, yeah. And it's hard when you're out in the field, as they say, and trying to figure out which property you're talking about.
Does she keep you on top of things?
100% she does. Like, I mean, she does my calendar, puts everything in there. Stop. She's amazing. You need her. I'm telling you, you need her.
Kyle doesn't have anybody.
Which I will tell you, I was doing about 22 million on my own without a transaction coordinator. My biggest year, not my biggest year, transaction-wise though, my biggest year, it was like number one for Real Trends, which this means nothing now because at the time that was 351 transactions. I did on my own without a transaction coordinator. 351. I was doing investment real estate. But nowadays, like, people do like thousands, right? I think that they do. But that was a lot. But 22 million was kind of like my threshold that I was like, okay, I've got to get somebody, doing this, transaction coordinating it. And I was so resistant to it because I'm cheap. And like, I didn't want to pay something.
Well, it's also like,
it's control for me.
It's control.
It was like nobody could do it.
It makes me feel like I won't know something and something will fall through the cracks.
Yes, it was like control, but it was also like, oh my gosh, do I really want to pay this? Well, hello, ever since I got that, like, I've done way more business because I'm freeing up my time. And it's not only that, but it's 50-50. I've done more business, but I've also like gained back part of my life too with our kids and like able to truly maybe step away from on a vacation or whatever, because I know that document's going to get signed, that paperwork's going to get pushed, and I know it's going to be taken care of.
So 22 million, I think I do remember is a conversation when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do at about 4 years in.
Yeah.
Is 12 was the max, they said, before you need to get somebody to be doing paperwork assistant or something. They were saying 12 is about the max.
Yeah.
You were way beyond that.
I was way beyond that. Yeah, I was way beyond that. But I will say, like, it wasn't just me, because I have like amazing admin staff at our office too. Like Susan's always kept me on my toes. But there were times though that Tucker would come to me and be like, I mean, there was especially when I was doing some of that investment stuff at the beginning of my career, they're like, you really need somebody to do these pending sheets for you, because I would be so far behind on things because it was like churn and burn. But so they were like, yeah, you really need help, because I was bogging down our office staff and they weren't able to do everything for everybody else because they were doing too much for me. So, but.
Well, and it's hard because like there is this like fear about, because when you're new, like customer service is like so much of your value add, and like you feel like letting go a little bit is like, I'm doing less customer service, even though you're actually providing a better service, ironically enough, and so like that's where I struggle with it. The cheap part's not too big of a deal because like I'm stupid with money anyways, unfortunately. So like I guess that's not that big of a deal, but it would be nice to. I know we could, like, I mean, we're dealing with a lot right now, and like I don't know where I could grow 20% right now. Yeah. Like I'd vomit.
It's through systems though. Yeah. Like if you get a system, I know, and it's so easy to say that. Do you feel you have good systems? I 100% do. I do. I really feel like I've got good systems in place since like late last year. Like, I mean, and it's a lot of it, it's a lot back to the basics.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're like since late last year. Like you're new to the party here, dude.
Well,
so like I still have like 5 years before I have to do this.
Your systems, did you put them together? Or did you go to a coach? Did you?
No, I don't have
You were at a breaking point for half a decade, and now you're like, oh, let me tell you this awesome thing. I figured this out.
No, I know. Well, I literally I've always had to have systems, so because I've grown my business. Yeah. But then, like, when I was like, okay, I'm going to continue to grow it, but what do I need to do to get, more growth or whatever, and getting that transaction coordinator in place, number one, and then also, like, scheduling emails, like open houses, scheduling those things or whatever. I'm back to the basics on a lot of the things that I have done for 10 years, basically, and then I kind of relinquished control of it for, like, a year, and it was a little bit, I had to get back on track or whatever, and so I feel like I'm back to my rhythm. So when you get into a rhythm of things, everything kind of just flows easily. But you have to find that rhythm, right? But I do think that if you get somebody, they're not going to adapt to you. You're going to adapt to that transaction coordinator and how she does things. Mm-hmm. And she actually was with me. I was the first person she ever transaction coordinated for. She was on my team. So it was built. Like we built this. Mm-hmm. She uses that for other agents now. It's funny because she just said today that she had an agent say, well, can you do this on our calendar? And she's like, no, I can't. And I was like, good for you, because you do have to say no, because this is what I'm doing for everybody else and this is what works. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel for every person. Yeah. Just like you can't do that for team members too. I'm very consistent with team members.
Well, it's just it's good to hear you say that, because you also went through this period where it like was hard, and so like that's kind of where this all started, was like, you know, how did you have a good year versus a bad year? And for me, like, as I, you know, like I lost my dad 2 years ago, I lost my mom a year ago, and like I was just wore out from all of it last year, and I don't feel like I slowed down. I know subconsciously I did not put in my best effort, you know.
But you got to give yourself grace, though, like 100%, right? Because I realized that too. I had a bad year, and at the same time, I was like, you know, who cares?
Oh, dude.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, because.
And even then, your bad year is kind of like.
It's somebody's best year.
That's what helped me. I was like, so my down year. Yeah. Like 4 years before that was my record year. Yeah. You know, I was like, okay, like, let's chill out, bro. Yeah. You know, but like.
It's humbling.
It is, but it's also, I think, if you're an entrepreneur, I'm like, well, like, we're not. Is this going to happen again next year? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, does this keep backsliding? But the reality is, like, none of it actually matters. You know, like, it's just is what it is. And like, you know, I've got everything I want. You've got everything you want. You've got your girls. You've got your husband. You know, like, you've got your families. But you lose track of it as especially with personalities like ours, and like I just want to solve problems, and I just want to like do stuff. Yeah, and so
that's
the hardest part, right?
That is
very
sure.
And so,
how do you think you'll ever get a? You tried for a little bit, right? You tried a little bit with a transaction coordinator?
I've tried with an admin and a transaction coordinator, and both times I was the problem, not them. I mean, I can be honest about that. Yeah. It was harder for me to train them and fit them into my system.
That's the thing, though. You can't train them. Like, you need somebody who has their system, though. I agree.
I need somebody telling me what
But that was my problem, though, too. Like, I was trying to, like, and I was doing it epically. I was doing a self-proclaimed a horrible job of training somebody to fit in the box I needed them to fit in, because I don't slow down. And I never set out last year. I did not personally set out to grow my business 30%. It just worked or whatever, because I started to get these systems and stuff like that in place, and I stepped back from trying to do all the things. Like, I didn't have time to, like, you know, set this up. Like, I needed to go back to what I knew worked. And what's the saying? Like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, I do believe
What was your one system that you say is absolutely your best system that keeps you going? Like,
it's probably coordinating all my transactions, like keeping track of all the paperwork, and like, because those are the things that keep me up at night. 3 a.m. I'll wake up and be like, oh my gosh, should I get this signed? Not messing deadlines or anything like that.
We talked about that when your spouse is on. I'm like, when you're up at like 1 a.m. on your phone, like,
oh my gosh, it's so it's embarrassing. At the same time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't turn it off.
Like, just to be, like, you know, want to be honest with people here and like let them see, like, I'm not trying to present a certain way. This is who I am as a human. Like, literally last night, like, we have like all these listings coming up, and like this one popped in my head at like 10 o'clock. I was like, shit. Like, I forgot about a whole listing that's coming up, because it was off market. Like, everything's done for it. Like, I just need to put it back on the market because the market was down. And I was like, like, what kind of business owner am I? Like, I completely forgot.
A busy one.
Yeah, about like a freaking house, dude. And like, so then I feel like I'm a piece of shit. Like, I'm not a good business owner. And then like, you know, like, imagine if my client knew this and like they don't feel special. And I'm like, man, like, I'm just you know, I just do the best I can, and I'm good at it. But like, you know what that's like. You know what that's like.
Absolutely. Like, that's why I write everything down. Everything is in my phone. Everything is in my calendar. Like, even if it's
but do you ever sit there and be like, oh, I forgot to write something down?
Oh gosh,
what else have I forgotten to write down?
The worst is because my calendar in my phone is you know, whatever it's to do. It's not like real appointments with anybody. It's what I need to do, and the whole day's full, and then I forget to do the real appointment. But the other thing is that I put in there of like, you know, like, buy toilet paper. Like, why? Why am I buying toilet paper? I just can't remember. Why did I say I needed to do this? And who am I supposed to call? Like, I don't remember.
I put everything in there. I put the kids' stuff. I put my stuff. Like, you know, it's just like, and if I'm feeling like down on myself, I'll literally go in and put a green check mark next to it, so I feel like I've accomplished something. I mean, I literally think I run in circles. But
I like take it off. Oh, thank God!
Oh my gosh!
It's done.
Trust us with the largest investment of your life. But the reality is, it's like, so.
No, we're organized. That's why it's
why it works.
So that's the interesting thing about it. Like, because we present this way, and it's like, these guys are a mess. It's because, like, you're seeing, like, such a small percent of the volume of stuff I actually deal with and still keep it organized, right? And on top of that, can be public facing and engaged and kind and warm and compassionate with a client, which not everybody can do both of those things, right? And on top of it, because I'm like this and you're like this and you're like this, I also handle stress and emotion differently than others and can glide through it. And so I know we present a certain way, but I think this industry is built for people with this type of a personality, and that's why we tend to thrive, is because...
We drive on chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're calm.
It's the truth, though. Yeah.
No, it's like, well, it's
Yeah.
like, sometimes, like, if I have a day that's just kind of quiet, I'm like, I get kind of, like, nervous. Like, what do I do?
Right.
Like, I can't just sit still. I got to get doing.
I just said this at the Zionsville sales meeting last week. I've tried to, like, take this advice myself, and the older I get, the more I learn this, like, embrace the calm and embrace the quiet. I used to, like, freak out at the beginning of my career. I would freak out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have anything coming in like this next month or the next 2 weeks or whatever. Right. And now I'm like, I'm going to embrace that, because deep down, we all know that we're doing everything we can, like, that it's going to result in business in the next 4 months. So if I have a down week or a down couple of days, I'm going to enjoy that. And I'm going to do things that I really want to do, like spend time with my kids or go shopping, whatever I want to do with them. I'm going to, do that versus fret about what's coming, because it's not what it's all about.
Yeah. It isn't. And like, one of the things I tell my clients is, like, all our timelines are manufactured.
That's true.
Like, it's all made up. I mean, like, there's things, but, like, those things are then also.
Those.
We set those.
We set them from experience, at least. But I got a call about a week and a half ago from somebody who was doing a for sale by owner.
Yeah.
And he said he was thinking about listing it. He's like, but I don't even know what you would do for me, because it's so easy. Yeah. But the next question was, he goes, well, how about if I just call you when I get the offer? And he talked about how, that wouldn't be very much either. I'm like, oh, that's whether you sell or not. Like, right? Yeah. It's like when the time you get the contract to the time you close.
Right.
You don't just magically close.
Right.
And nobody understands.
There's a lot of behind the scenes.
There's so much that we do that people have no idea to get you to closing.
Absolutely.
And the things that we do to keep it together, because we don't go complain to our clients. We don't go tell them what we're dealing with. We just deal with it. And we show up at closing and congratulate them. But there's so much in between that it just killed me when he's like, well, that's the easy part.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not.
There should be a reality TV, like a fly on the wall, like literally recording, when I am in my office, because I do feel like my team, like, they learn a lot from me when they're in there, because they see a lot of chaos. Because, I mean, when you got, like, 22 pendings going at the same time, you're like, there's a lot of balls in the air. And, like, I'm pivoting from this point to this point. Like, I mean, I probably, like, make their heads spin, but you can learn so much though from that chaos too.
My team, it's because I'll be like, hey, like, I'm really busy right now, can you help me with this? And sometimes they're like, well, like, what all do you have going on? And then they'll be with me for a day. And like my team member, like, Ben, he always cracks me up, because he's like, I don't know how you do it. I was like, I don't know. I guess, like, I just do it.
Yeah, just
like,
do it.
You know, like, I've never.
Because we are literally, like, that's ingrained in us now.
Yeah. Like, I just, my phone rings. Like, the only time that I kind of lose my cool is when I'm in the shower and my phone rings, and I'm like,
I hate that too. I know, and I usually try to turn it on.
And you get out of the shower so you can go answer it and sit.
Yeah.
I won't do that. Do that. But, like, I'm just, you gotta think, shower, like, I'm not fully caffeinated, so I'm already not to be trifled with.
Turn your phone up yet, then. Keep your phone off till you get out of the shower.
I try to turn mine on silent, because I will absolutely agree with that. Like, if I'm, like, literally, if I hear my text, it just gives me anxiety. Because I can't check it, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like,
well, do you ever have the situation where you're in a room and the text goes off and it's your sound, and you're like, and you have yours turned off? It's like,
trauma response.
Yeah, it is. It is trauma response. Yes.
It's like, oh God.
Yes.
And then you look at it and you've got like 16, like, dang it.
Absolutely.
I can't unsee that.
Yeah.
So you said you were talking about having people follow you. You have an intern. So
I do. Yeah.
I've always wondered how that works, because I get asked. Yeah. So following you around.
It's kind of become like the thing, I feel like, in like the last couple of years. I feel like I did it before there was a lot of that, obviously. I don't know what year is this I'm doing it. This is probably my 4th or 5th year. But I get asked every year, and I get asked by a lot of people. And I used to say I only take my clients' kids. Well, like, that's become harder and harder. I can't take 12 interns. I took 3 at one point in time. It was a lot. My intern this year, she's amazing, and you have to
it's just tasking. Interview them and everything, don't you?
Well, you kind of do, but I also I want to take somebody that I know that knows how I operate too. Because if I need a Monday to just do paperwork, I don't want them to be disappointed in me that I don't have them like sitting right next to me. I'm not going to do that to them. And so I would just say, like, having them with me or whatever, I have them do as much as they possibly can. It's a lot, because you have to schedule them. Like, you got to get stuff for them to do. But the tasking and stuff like that, they absolutely can do. But it's through Hamilton Southeastern. And it's a year. Like, it's a year commitment.
I just don't understand how it works, because our days pivot
So I know.
Constantly.
So it's more a schedule for me because you're absolutely right. Like we don't have to work like 8 to 5, but that intern is with me from 8:30 or 9 until 1. So the days that they're with me, I should be with them. And if I'm not with them, then I need to have tasks for them to do. So one of the things I have them do is sign up for the real estate class, and they take that real estate class in the downtime, basically, that I'm not with them because it's impossible for me to schedule my Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm going to be with you from 9 to 1 o'clock. So like yesterday, it's a Monday. I had pendings, I had inspection responses, I had all these things due. So I was like, here's your list. I sent it in a text. I was like, go do this. And she's amazing. She was out there and she makes me look good because my client was like, I emailed you 5 minutes ago to come straighten the sign. Seriously, I got the email to come straighten the sign in the yard. And get the lockbox off. I sent a text to Addie, and she was out there within 5 minutes. He was like, it's not even 5 minutes, it's already done. I was like, yeah, that's how I roll. Yeah. I mean, but I am setting the bar really high sometimes. So
but it's
really high.
It's weird. I think it'd be really neat.
Yeah.
Somebody I've been talked to about before, and then like it goes back to the transaction coordinator. I'm like, I don't have time to figure out stuff for you to do. But like when you say that, like I could. And it's also really odd these days, right? Because like I can remember, a couple of years ago, like I would sit there with my wife on Sundays, right? And it'd be like, like, hey, what's your week gonna be like, right? And be like, oh, I think I have kind of a down week. And like, we rapidly pivoted to where my wife would be like, like nobody believes that anymore but you. You know what I mean? Because like on a Sunday, you'd be like, like nowadays, like I'm booked out 3 weeks. Yeah. I'm like I have no illusion that I have a down week anymore, and like I kind of miss like a Sunday night being like this might be like the good old days.
Oh, I agree.
And it's become. I was talking to one of my team members. Like it, as a team lead, it's a little bit different. Yeah. Like I want them to kind of see behind the curtain, and I was telling one of my team members yesterday. The amount of like CEO level stuff I now have to do that I did not anticipate even a year and a half ago is like I have so many lunches, breakfasts, dinners for like large scale relationship business type stuff. Yep. That I'm just like, man, like when do I do the real estate shit? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it's just become like really interesting, and I'm sure you deal with that.
Because you're the face of your team. Correct. And
But don't you think that starts to evolve, and that's an interesting part of us with when you have a bigger team or when you're doing, is the real estate part is still there, but now you're branching out. Like I'm, Northside Mybor, you've branched into so much that you've done, and you branch into doing so much more than just real estate because of your real estate job. Right. So not only are you trying to sell with your clients, all of a sudden you've got many more hats. And that's what was amazing to me is the amount of hats that you start to put on other than buying and selling with a client.
Well, so I feel bad though, because like I have not engaged in some of those things that I know I want to give back to. And I always say in my head, and even to other people, like, once my kids have flown the coop, which is very soon, I've got a sophomore and a senior, I will have more time. And I'm already noticing I have more time because I'm not driving them everywhere. Because my last one just got her license. So I do think like that I will evolve into more things like that, becoming more involved. Like I've been a moderator, I've been at North Mybor, the meetings and stuff like that. But I do want to become more involved in that. I just haven't had time to. And so for me, it's just delegating my time.
It's the
and right
season
now,
of life. I mean, I've only been able
when they're in college. What am I going to do? I'm going to be bored.
I've been able to do it now because of that. I'm not in your season anymore. Right. I'm in my season, and that's when you can start doing it. But you've chosen all these different avenues. You do it.
I think it's incredible. I know. I watch you like from afar, and like I'm cheering you on because I'm telling you, you do have your hand in so many different things, but you still do amazing volume. Like, and you run a team.
Collapse.
It's huge. That's why you need a transaction coordinator.
It is.
I just did what you told me not to.
So one of the reasons I fought it, because I've had these conversations with even my wife, and she's like, well, why don't you do this? I was like, my biggest concern is not that it will take stuff off my plate, that it will create more room for me to do more things. Yeah. And like that's with my personality,
then you got to learn to say no.
Yeah, that's my forte. Let me tell you. Yeah, like I have yes and maybe, just like you two.
I know, it's hard. This is true.
It's hard.
But I don't know, man. It's just neat, like that you have an intern, and like I think like my son. You said that your daughter comes and works for you. Like my son is going to do that next year. I think it's. I would love to expose my children to it because they have expressed interest into it. I hope that they don't do it. I secretly also hope that they do because I do love what we do.
It's a catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm like, go be a doctor, but if that doesn't work,
yeah, exactly.
But like, I do think it's neat that you get to have people engage with you and that you get to teach, and like, it is interesting to have them take some of these little things off of your plate because sometimes that is the pain in the ass.
It is.
It's like, I had one the other day, like a week ago. I can't even remember when it is. I needed to drive down to Martinsville just to put a pending sign out, mainly because like it was a neighborhood I grew up in. It was my parents' neighborhood. Multiple offers, sold it over list in a day when other stuff is sitting. Like it just performed really well, and for marketing, you want, you know. And I'm like, and I'm driving,
and you're driving
50 there,
50
back for 2 seconds. And it was snowing.
Oh my gosh.
So do you, this is what we've talked about.
But an intern could have done that for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you put a pending sign on when you get your offers? When do you put them on?
I usually,
or do you put a sold sign on?
I put pending. It's always pending, and it'll say pending until, I don't know, I've always been that way. I don't like to put the sold sign on it.
It's bad juju.
Yeah, I just put the pending and I leave it out until it's, and I don't switch out the sign to sold.
When do you put the pending on?
After I get the earnest money. So.
Really?
Right
okay.
after.
I don't do it till after appraisal.
Okay. Yeah, I do it after.
About the bad juju. Like you put pending on it, but we haven't had an inspection or appraisal yet. Okay. But I used to put sold signs on, and we've had a lot of conversations about it's not sold yet.
Yeah, I had a client.
So I don't do that anymore.
The reason I stopped doing it is I had a client. It was on Harbor Bay. I remember it. I had my daughter. She was cute as a bug, like little, and she put a sold sign on it. And she messaged me, and she was like, "Oh my gosh!" She was like, you put a sold sign on that. She's like, we're not even, we're not through inspection. And the client kind of like lost her mind. I was like, oh shoot, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that was, so then I stopped doing that. I started putting pending.
Yeah.
So
I used to not do it
I think
at
it
all.
means as much to people as sold,
it conveys
right? Yeah, it conveys the same message.
Well, so. I didn't ever think of sold being a bad thing.
No, I don't.
I found that I would say 80% of agents say sold is not happening until the day of closing.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
so
all.
What are my sold writers going to do with? I've got a ton of them.
It's all made up though. Like it's called, like the idea of putting a sold sign or a pending sign is going to mess up the deal. Like
well, that's where we all get
superstitious.
Like it's gonna,
I know.
It's like I'm not superstitious.
I'm totally guilty of it.
Not superstitious until I found out I needed to be. Right? Like that's because I always hope I win the lottery, and I've never won the lottery.
But this is my thing too. Is the last thing I want to do is walk up and tippy-toe to the sign and pull it right back.
Yeah.
No, I know that's the worst. So you're not posting. You're not posting that on Instagram. You're like,
and
it's gone. And just getting excited.
I didn't do it at all. The reason I started doing it was because of open houses. Because I sold one. I mean, this wasn't even like the height of COVID. This is probably 2 years ago, 3 years ago. So I didn't do them for a long time. And I had one that was in, like Deer Path or something, right? And so just like a high volume neighborhood. And there was an open house scheduled, and everybody showed up to an open house. And I pinned it right away, but with Zillow at the time, which I'm not speaking bad of them because they're a brokerage, but at the time it was like a 48-hour turnaround for them to change the status. Right. And so all these people showed up at an open house, and I was just getting lit up. There was a line of people yelling at me, and I was like, no, sorry. And finally the fourth guy was like, well, you could have put a pending sign out. And I was like,
oh
yeah.
Good point. Good point. That would have helped.
Yeah. That guy changed my life. I was like, I probably could have done that.
That's funny.
And it was literally just so I wouldn't get bad phone calls about an open house.
I get it.
That got canceled or whatever. So I don't know though. I do think there's some psychological stuff to it, but so back to you having an intern though, because I know we're going off on all these tangents, and so you told me not very many of them have. Completed the real estate or been able to successfully take the test, right? And so, do you think it scares a lot of them away to actually see what this really is? Because you said your daughter is going to Kentucky, which, as an IU fan, I will not say something, but it's okay. But as an alum, and she wants to do this, and when I was newer, I considered going to go get my master's in real estate, and I just thought it'd be neat. I love what we do, and then I was like, I'm spending a bunch of money, and it doesn't matter. For her, it'd be different because she could get into commercial and development, and it would be really, really, really neat. But we all talked about how I feel like I was sold a false bill of goods when I got into real estate, and this job is not what I thought it was. It's actually way better, but it's for sure not what I thought. And to grow and be successful is even more.
It is
not what you think it is. And so it's interesting for you to like see people who like, usually we're dealing with people who like, I want to do this and they're misled. Like an intern's just like, I wonder what this is like.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it's great because they're getting their feet wet.
And they're all like, no.
Yeah.
Like I'm out.
It's so funny because I mean, I think that they're living the life like and seeing it. And this year, my intern, I mean, she's really engaged. She really loves it. And I think she actually will go after it too. But I've definitely had they're like, yeah, that's not for me. Last year's intern, she was like, yeah, it's not for me. So,
well, don't you think that everybody should shadow for
I
year?
do.
I think all new agents should shadow somebody who's in this business for a year,
because
so
you
they
are
learn
sold
something. But
you're sold a false it's a hustle. Like it's not. This Laura Turner Realty Group did not happen overnight. It was a hustle. It was grueling.
Because you and I
it was when
were
kids were little, right? And like
you and I were going to the awards thing.
We were.
Crossed into the top 10.
Yeah.
And so I've always loved you as a person, right? And through what we met, but
mutually.
So I watched you just like skyrocket, and you know, not everybody does that. Not hardly anybody does that.
Right.
But it's like I like homes and I like people and flexibility.
And that's what people are like, you know, I grew up, you know, I loved, you know, going to open houses. I love doing this. I love doing, and I'm like, I get it. Like, but it is, it's just how it's a hustle, basically. It truly is. Like, you have to be always on, a hard worker, engaging. Like, there's no days off. Like, there's no, you know what, I feel like I've worked too much or whatever this week, so I'm just going to take these 2 days. I'm like, it's just not.
I had
it's
this
always
Sunday
on.
Off. Completely off. I had nothing going on.
Yeah, and then you worked 8 to 10.
Call. I worked from 10:30 to 8 p.m. Never got out of my pajamas.
Right. But people don't tell you that when you get into it, right?
It was just a constant revolving door of I had no idea, but shit was hitting the fan.
Yeah.
And it was my day off. I was going to do taxes.
Right.
And we just never know. That's why I was like, how could you have an intern? Get over here. It's happening.
And I will try to schedule things like when she's with me or whatever, but like it's just, you have to be able to pivot.
I couldn't imagine.
And they've learned that. Like they've totally learned that. You just have to be able to pivot.
But they come to your house because you said you
don't come to my house. No, they're usually at my like office or they're with me, writing with me. Okay. So one year I actually handed my keys over to them and I was like, just drive me, like, because I have too much to do. I literally did that.
I've had a driver before.
I was like, just drive me.
When I was selling at Sweetwater, I had a driver because that's an hour and a half there and an hour and a half back. That's 3 hours.
Oh, yeah. My insurance agent husband probably wasn't a fan that I handed my keys over to a 17-year-old and was like, just drive me, but that's okay. It worked out just fine.
It was better than me having my computer in my lap while I was trying to figure out what I needed to get done. Real quick. Just real quick.
Oh, my gosh. I know.
Yeah. But like, so what if we could like package this to sell it to somebody? Like, what would you tell, you know, tell them what it is? You know, when I go and talk to new Tucker agents, very first thing I tell them is like, welcome to the best job in the world. I've never had a Monday since I started this, and I've also never had a Friday since I started this.
You know the weekend. I hate that.
That's a really good point.
Thank God it's Friday. Like, why?
Oh, yeah. I know.
All those.
That's when it's going to start.
My Friday was Thursday.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, all those people out there that say all of that are like, oh, it's, you know, today is, Labor Day or whatever, days off. Like, oh no, we'll be showing houses.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't trade it. Like, I love it that much. As much as it's hard and it's stressful, you know, I went and was doing this lobotomy or whatever I did, I'm joking, but like when I did this stuff, I had like really high blood pressure, ironically, not ironically.
That's like welcome to your 40s, I feel like. Yeah. Everybody's like high blood,
high blood pressure while on blood pressure meds. And it was super bad, right? And the crazy thing is they did
these little drinks right here. If you're not watching on the video, he's got a energy drink in front of him. I feel like I'm at home. Yes, Jessica. Anyways, I quit nicotine mints because of it. Anyway, so the crazy thing is like my blood pressure was really high, and they did all these tests. My cortisol levels were insanely low, and my my heart rate was that of like like an athlete, like for real. You know what I mean? So it's like. And when I went in there, I was stressed. Yeah. And I'm so used to stress that like it didn't even register like my cortisol levels.
Right.
So like it was like, no, it was literally
it's
a Monday.
like normal.
It was a Monday. I was like, this is, I don't know. I was like, I feel like I'm wound a little tight and running a little hot today, but
that's me every day.
It's 11 on a Monday, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Like, how would you sell this to somebody and tell them what it is? Because
you can't unless they walk around with you.
Yeah, I think that they truly have to be like, like shadow you or like know the ins and outs of it. I don't know. I think you have to be a high energy person. You've got to be able to pivot on a dime. You've got to have structure, but at the same time, you can't be so structured. Like some people are so structured that they get in their own way.
Yeah.
And you can't be that either. Because you're never going to be able to handle multiple things and pivot. But I don't know. I mean, I do. I think that if new agents could just spend a week with high producing agents, because let's be honest, every brand new agent that starts, they want to be Biff Ward, Laura Turner. They want to be at the top. They want to sell, a ton of real estate.
They're not trying to go sell $3 million.
It doesn't happen overnight. No, it doesn't happen overnight. I love it. Like, I've had, some of my very first interns as well. Like at 18, they weren't sure if they were going to go to college because they were just going to go into real estate. And I was like, listen, you are not going to graduate from high school and start selling $500,000 homes. It's not going to happen.
That's another thing.
But it's keeping it real with them, because if you interview with brokerages, the brokerage may be like, yeah, you've got this. You're going to, yes. Like, and I'm like,
this one person in Tampa did it.
This one person in Tampa did it. Exactly. And now they're on, the real estate on TV. And oh my gosh,
all
it's
the
so staged.
HGTV, that's so fake.
It's so staged.
What do you think about all the agents that say, I don't accept offers on the weekends or don't answer phone calls on the weekends? That just stresses me out.
It's what you signed up for. It's what you signed up for. There's not a lot of it, but it's what you signed up for.
How do you do that? It just stresses me out.
If I walked into a listing appointment and I told my client, I'm going to work for you Monday through Saturday, but I'm not, if I get, 2 offers on a Sunday, I'll call you on Monday.
Yeah.
That's not going to fly.
No.
Like, it's just not going to fly. And I understand people want to set boundaries, but I think that you can do that without saying, don't send me these deadlines on this day. Like, I mean,
isn't there it's like owning a church that's not open on Sundays.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
a lot of real estate happens on Saturday and Sunday, because that's when people have to work to afford houses. Therefore, they're off on Saturdays and Sundays.
A lot.
Yeah. I know some agents who are younger and they have been successful, and I'm super, super happy for them. But and not just that, I know agents our age who started like that, like Drew Schroeder, right? Matt Cressley, right? Like, because I went to college with Matt. And so, like, I know his dad did it or whatever, but, like, he graduated college and got into it. And, like, Drew did it and, like, struggled through it and like, look at him now. And so, like, there absolutely is that success. But I promise if you went and talked to all of them, it didn't hit when they were 24.
No.
It was like it still takes the 14 years
Absolutely.
or the 10 years.
I'm seriously starting to feel like I'm in my rhythm now. Like, and I mean, I've been in it for 14 years, and I know that there's been success leading up to this, but I'm really feeling like, I've like hit this pivotal point where my business is coming to me. I've always done things by referral or whatever, but now, like, I've been these family realtors, I'm selling their kids' houses, stuff like that. So it's just kind of coming. And I mean, I love to do client events just to spoil my clients and say thank you, but I don't need to necessarily do those things. I'm doing them more so kind of, for my team, and then also just say thank you to my clients. I'm not doing it for the purpose of gathering more business. I mean,
like,
I was asked that the other day.
It is fun to see them,
though,
right?
It is fun,
you spend so much time with them, getting the house and everything, and then you say goodbye.
Yeah.
And you don't see them again.
Oh, it's heartbreaking to me. I feel like it's like breaking up with them. I'm like, and so then I texted a client last week. I was like, hey, how are you guys doing? I missed you guys. And they're like, we're in London. I was like, okay, just checking in, saying hi. Because, I mean, you text them every day. And then
people have texted me and be like, we feel like you were our best friend for 90 days, and we lost our friend.
I know.
And it's not like I don't know. Like, I want to hang out with everybody. But
I do too. But the only way to get them, like, is, to touch them with, hey, invite them to something. And then if they show up, it makes my heart so happy because I get to see them.
It's so good to see them.
I know.
Yeah,
that's why I think it's, I love this job. And
I
do think anybody could be successful in this job. I don't think it's for everybody. And I think people who would be, like, super high-end successful, I think you do need to have a certain kind of personality.
Yeah,
that's my personal opinion on it. I do. Everybody sees the one-offs, but, like, nobody looks at all the failures, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that's
80%.
where people.
They say
80%.
They do. That
I believe
come
that.
to the business are gone within 2 years.
And it's really, really hard, and we don't talk about that stuff enough. And then we wonder, like, we're just the people that didn't quit.
Yeah, I know. We're just the people that didn't quit on it. I mean, some of the stuff that we've dealt with on a day, like, that would make anybody quit.
I'm just the person that didn't quit. Here I am.
I mean, I was I think my 3rd year, I was on vacation.
Yeah.
And with my family, and I was like, it was like spring break.
Yeah.
and I was dealing with a contract. We were under contract, so I felt safe to leave. And like it freaking fell apart, dude. And I was like, I'm on vacation, so like let me call you back. And she was like, I don't give a shit. Like I don't care you're on vacation. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like you're not even a little bit, you don't care? Right? And like that was really hard. But it also made me stronger to be like, well, I do. Yeah. You know, and like we'll get you taken care of. But, so I don't know. What else you got?
Nothing. I just love that you're here. I know we had to.
I know this was like and it was my fault as well. But I appreciate you guys asking.
No, absolutely. It's so fun to hear about you and watch your growth. It's been
vice versa. I mean, I honestly, it's we all like live in our own little office or whatever. But I do think it is kind of fun that when Tucker puts those things out, you're like, holy cow! Like I mean, you guys are you're crushing it though too. Well, so I've always followed yours very closely because it's your family. I love that. So I love that. Yeah. But
I'm not involved in a bunch of the stuff I'm involved in if it wasn't for her. Like when I first when it was at the Harmony House and you and I I can remember it because I was like, hey, I've got opinions on this neighborhood. You're like, oh, me too. And I was like, okay. I was like, we built an active community, but if you ain't active, don't move to this community. Like people I always thought that community was funny because it's amazing, but people would like move there and they'd be like, we're not active. I was like, why did you move there? Like you're not going to become active because you moved there. Anyways,
like joining a gym though, you're not going to become unless you
correct. And so but she was like, you should do Reel and all this stuff, and so I did that, and it's just kind of like created all this relationship. To the market real quick though, because we are going to go into the stats. I'm curious what you think about it because this is kind of my read on it. Last year it was really busy, and so you definitely have a different kind of view on it. February 15th, spring market started early last year, and then like third week of May, kind of like the bottom of the market started to fall out where people became more patient. Higher end buyers had more leverage last year again. Cash was like actually king again. I saw a lot of negotiations and people were patient because inventory went up and buyers went down, and so people could they had this luxury. But literally January 1st almost, like it got competitive again. Like I was in multiple offer situations, blah blah blah, and it has been like that ever since, and it keeps ramping up, which is crazy. That's so early. But now I'm starting to see a bunch of agents. Like we have a ton of listings coming up. You do. My buddy Kevin does. I'm like, where are all the buyers? And I have a slight concern. If you would ask me a week ago, I'd have been like, it's going to be really intense. Is there a slight concern that like what happened last year happens again? There's no indicators for it, but there was no indicators for it last year either. So I guess to me, like, where are we at with the market? Because like it's really, really weird. Last year the market, because we do enough, especially between the two of us, let alone with it, like you involved as well. I have a really good read on the market, right? I mean, we do 110 houses a year, right? Like you do a crap ton of houses. You do a crap ton of houses. And so like I kind of have a read on the market at all times. And last year, like the market, spring market started like February 15th. I kind of remember it just because like it was day after Valentine's Day. It was like the week my mom had, we had buried my mom, and it just like exploded. And it was like, felt like 3 weeks early. Yeah. And then in the middle of May, the market kind of like fell out a little bit and it was really weird because rates were down, and buyers just suddenly became patient. Yeah. And so cash was king again. High end market did really, really well. I know you tend to do a lot of like, we'll call it like 7 and north, right? Like, and I saw that price range do really, really well last year. Whereas like, we'll call it 5 and south didn't, it just kind of sat on the market, and there was a crap ton of it. So true. Right. And then, which is usually the opposite.
Right now, I think, definitely.
Well, so when I did the stats for this, like, I actually saw a bunch of stale stuff getting cleaned up and out of there. But so last year we were kind of saying, if you did a price reduction, there was no evidence to suggest more showings or even an offer, which was kind of new. Right. And then now all of a sudden, January 1, it has completely pivoted again, and like I was already in multiple offer situations, highest and best situations, and like that was a month and a half early for that. Yeah. And I have a bunch of listings coming up. You have listings coming up. You have listings coming up, and like, I mean, like I have like May, June type level listings coming up, right? And I'm like, holy crap! I'm talking to other agents at other brokerages. Like my buddy Kevin on the way here was telling me he has a bunch. I'm not hearing as much about buyers. And so I'm like, is this going to happen again? I don't think it is. I think rates are even lower. I don't think that I don't know, kind of the pulse of the market feels that way. But I'm still, I almost have like trauma from like last year. I was like, what happens, right? And so like, I'm just curious what your read is on it. Like, do you think it'll continue to do well? Or do you think buyers are like there and they're doing well, but like we won't produce enough buyers to actually offset the inventory that's coming?
Well, I think what I'm seeing is I've had a lot of buyers, past clients of mine, surprise me, come out of the woodwork and say, hey, we saw this house. We want to take a look at it. I just had this happen with it was a $1.6 million house. They're like, we just saw this house. We want to take a look at it, and we're under contract now on it.
And you're like, wait a second.
Didn't even know that they were in the market.
We just bought like 3 years ago. What are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. But didn't even know that they were in the market. So I do think that I think that consumers are watching. I'm going to call them consumers because they're not buyers yet. I think they're watching the market, and as they see more inventory of houses that are fitting, because they are paying a higher interest rate than they paid 5 to 7 years ago. So if they're going to pay a higher interest rate, they want to get something more. They want to get the house that has X, Y, and Z that their house now doesn't. Yeah. So I think as we get more inventory on the market that fits that, then I think more buyers are going to come out of the woodwork. But right now, they're kind of like sitting ducks. We're not seeing a ton right now. Like showings are definitely down. I'm seeing on several listings, especially that price point. Like, I mean, I have listings that I listed that I'm like, oh, for sure, 400,000 in Fishers will be gone like that. Nope.
Yeah, we have one in Fishers at $389.
It's just wild. Yep. Yeah. But I think that, I also think that maybe some consumers or buyers are sitting to see if there's going to be anything else that comes up that they like
because
better.
they know the spring market.
Yes.
And we'll wait till we get through spring break.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Spring break is a big deal because I have a ton coming up after April, after spring break.
That's what it is, waiting till everything get finished.
Right.
But the one thing I think is what you're talking about is the buyers who bought in 21 and 22 and 23 that did not like what they bought, but they had to buy.
They had to buy.
And so they bought, got the house, and now they're going to be like, let's get what we really wanted 4 years ago.
And the rates will be low enough that like it's not cost prohibitive.
Exactly. Right. So and they're making more typically. I mean, they're making more. Their jobs or whatever typically. I mean, they're like, okay, well, what we bought 7 years ago, now, we can double that, even though our interest rate's going to be that much higher because I just think that, they've methodically thought about this or whatever, but now they're going to get what they really want.
Well, life has gone on, too.
Yeah.
They've had a child or they need to downsize now or whatever it is. I mean, it used to be that everybody moved, they said, within 7 years. Now they're saying that's higher.
Yeah.
But I think that group that bought in 21 and 22 and 23.
They settled. A lot of them did.
They settled, and they're not happy where they are. And now they're watching these houses come on the market. Like you said, I've had phone calls, too. Hey, we just decided. I had one that bought 2 years ago. They've put our house on the market. We want to find something else. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm getting those calls too. So are you seeing that a little bit?
No, I think, yes, I am. I have people who are moving. Like, I've got one right now under contract that I just was not on my to-do list, you know, and I'm also seeing a large, we've been talking about this for a couple of years with like baby boomers, like helping out. And it's becoming more and more common. And then honestly, like they're passing away. My parents are a good example of that, unfortunately. And then those houses are coming on the market. And I'm seeing that a lot kind of in the Fishers area specifically and Carmel. Right. And I'm kind of like, I did a lot of estate stuff last year, and like I just see it kind of happening again this
I've been
year.
showing a lot of estate-owned properties. I have one right now in the market, but I've actually shown several that in the agent-to-agent remarks it says it's a estate sale. So I think that is interesting. Yeah. So and then like they need some updates, and
right?
And like I'm starting to see people who are okay doing the updates instead of turnkey.
Absolutely.
It's just kind of interesting, like just how it's. I don't know. That's why I'm curious what it's going to be like this year, because like it feels like it's going to be a lot.
Yeah. I feel like it started off like strong. I mean, I've had a good start to the year, but I don't see an end in sight necessarily as far as it's slowing down a little bit, because I mean, I know when we get back from spring break, it's going to be craziness as far as listings, like one a day for like 6 days straight. So like I know the inventory is coming. So if I'm like that, I'm sure you guys are like that. Yeah. And then I think it's going to give buyers more choice. So therefore buyers are going to get out, basically get out and see these properties. I just think that, that's going to be.
But you know what I don't have? And like, this is like projection, right? Obviously, because like I know better. I don't have anybody talking to me about listing at the end of the beginning of the summer yet.
Oh, I really don't either. No,
well,
I would say I don't either.
Yeah. I know. Well,
That's
yeah.
true.
I mean, a lot of the stuff I had now, like I
Yeah.
found out about in January.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I'm always like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know,
I always have like on my little spreadsheet or whatever I have coming soon, and then
Yeah.
like people that I know that are going to come up. But I will say that is pretty light for me as well. Everything is like April, May.
Me too.
and
right
it's
now.
like a fire hose.
April,
And
May.
if
It is. I know.
It really is.
Yeah. I said I was going to slow down this year because my daughter's a senior and I've got her open house in May, and I'm just like, please. I mean, I'm going to list these houses in April, but I'm like, holy cow, what
Is
am
an
I
open
going to
house
do?
that okay? So okay, maybe it's because
Yeah.
it's a girl. I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm
I
a
know.
dude. Like I've got some clients right now that we're like selling now around
Yes.
like, well, we have her senior open house, and I'm just like,
it's something.
what?
I know it's
What is
something.
this like? It's like a wedding day all of a sudden. What
It
is
is.
this?
It's a lot of planning.
It's fun.
It
What
What do
is
you
fun.
mean it's a lot of planning.
It is just a lot of, I mean, I've already rented the tents and I ordered the cookies yesterday. And like, I mean, I'm just trying to get all this stuff done before, because we own 2 businesses, and then
Yeah.
we have, all of our friends. I mean, it's a lot of people.
Well, and
like,
it's
and it's going to be at our house. Like,
and we're
I'm like,
limited resources, so if you have tents, you have to do it now. And
You do.
stuff,
And we're
but-
doing it on race weekend. I mean, like, yeah. But she graduates that race weekend. She graduates on the 22nd,
But that always
open
is
house
the
on the
thing.
23rd.
It is always the same.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
So, but it is a lot. But
Sounds
this is a crash course maybe in like wedding planning one day. And like, this is just the small scale. I don't know. Good
Oh,
Lord.
right. We got married on a Friday because it was cheaper.
I love that. And then a lot of people are doing that. Thursdays and Fridays. I
I know,
hear
I've
that
seen
now.
that
We couldn't afford it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've totally heard that now. So we
got
got
married
married in Crawfordsville because it was cheaper.
You guys driving.
Because it was cheaper.
I was born in Crawford.
Were you really? At Culver Hospital?
Yes.
That's where I was born.
Oh
yeah.
my
I was.
gosh.
Yeah. So
That's
that is
so
so funny. My
funny.
parents still live there. So
And the hospital's no longer there.
oh yeah, it's definitely no longer there. Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
Years
That is
apart, but
small.
yes.
I got a place out on Raccoon Lake that's off Market.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love Raccoon Lake. One of our friends
Raccoon
had
Lake
a
is like
place.
one of my favorite lakes.
We used to go there like in college and high school. Or in high school, I should say. One of my girlfriends, like that I grew up with, or whatever, her parents have a house out there.
That's
So.
the only lake I've ever been on that in
Yeah.
the morning it's actually glass.
It's beautiful.
Like, it's
yeah.
that still.
Yeah,
It
it is
is-
beautiful. Lake
really-
Holiday is where I learned how to water ski. You know Lake Holiday?
I don't. Where's
You
that?
don't? It's out near there as well. So it's near there.
Yeah, I'm from Martinsville. If I got
Okay.
out of the city limits
Okay.
on a regular basis, it was a big deal.
Oh my
So
gosh.
we would like vacation to
Yeah.
Greenwood.
Okay.
Like, that's what we did.
Fair.
So,
When you went to the mall, right?
Yeah.
When you went to the big mall.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
and on a
gosh.
rare occasion, we go to Bloomington.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh
it
my
was awesome.
gosh.
Okay, well, I appreciate you
Cool.
coming on here.
Yeah.
We'll have you on again because we could just talk forever. So,
Get to see how your year went.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
December.
Yes.
and like you're just really good energy and just fun, and your brain works like ours. And
It does.
be like, all right, what are we chasing next? So, but we will we'll let you give your information if anybody wants to get a hold of you at the end of it. I'll jump into my stats real quick. I'm going to do Fishers, which is like you do a ton
Yeah.
in Fishers. So right now I have 163 on the market. So we basically I do Tuesday to Tuesday, right? So we do weekly stats, right? And so like right now, Fishers has 163 on the market, anywhere from like 250 to just over a million. Last week, 38 went on the market. 28 of them are still active. So only 10 pended within a week. But 35 pended last week, right? And so like I barely picked up a little bit of inventory, but like I was saying, I saw a bunch of stale stuff penned in both Noblesville and Fishers last week. I mean, I'm talking stuff that was like on the market since October. So the average days on market right now in Fishers is 41, but the median is 17. Noblesville, I have 150 on the market, anywhere from 110 to 1.2 million. 21 of them hit the market last week. 15 of them are still active. 6 pended within a 7-day period, but 31 pended. So I lost 10 inventory.
Wow.
And my average is 43 in Noblesville and 12 is the median. But I mean, we got a lot going on in the market, and I'm losing inventory. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I mean, like what did I say? I said 38 and 21. Last week or 2 weeks ago was 31 and 39, 37 and 23. Like, we have a lot going on in the market, man, and I am just continually going down in inventory, especially in Fishers. I mean, Fishers had 182 on the market, you know, like, I don't know, 4 weeks ago. So
I'll be curious like what April brings though too, because I do think that there's
a spring break. I think is the big wall. It's like once we get over that, then we're going to be.
I started avoiding it years ago, listing houses on it because it was just like a dead week.
Oh yeah.
It just depending on the price point.
Now though, because of all the schools, I mean, who knows? They're all. Or it's 4 weeks now.
Yeah,
I think it might be 4 weeks.
Yeah, with it affects it. Yeah.
I mean, I'm in Mount Vernon and we are spring break right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and ours isn't until our Fisher's isn't until April 3rd.
Right.
That I don't know, but it's a long. It used to be 1 or 2 weeks.
Isn't it funny how that dictates the market?
Yeah,
it is.
I know.
Everybody
it's
leaves,
crazy.
You know?
I know.
Well, and you used to think
drive
that
around 465 again.
I know.
Well, but it'd be like, hey, you could list because some people would stay home.
Right.
It's almost like nobody stays home anymore.
This is absolutely true.
It's
I know.
weird.
It is absolutely true. Like it is just a slow week and like showings across the board. It's just So.
More people leave for fall and spring break than they do for summer break.
That's not how I was raised either. Holy cow. Like it's so bizarre to me. Like
all we did was a summer vacation.
Yes. You just did one vacation. Nope, not anymore. Yeah. So, no.
So in Carmel, 44 hit the market. We have had, last week was 50. We've had so much more, almost 2 times from 3 weeks ago for the past 2 weeks. Pending hit, 44 hit, 21 of those pended, but a total of 36 pended. So almost all the inventory was eaten up. Average days on market the past 7 days is 31 with a median of 5. And then solds, we had 76 sell in the past 30 days with an average days of 51. So that has gone down 20 days. So we're slowing down, or not slowing down anymore on days on market, kind of speeding up in Carmel. Currently active, we have 154 on the market. Those sitting and average days right now is 94. So they're at 3 months, the sitting ones. So again, two different groups of houses. So some of the houses are selling and some are not. Westfield, 36 hit the market. That's almost 15 more than the past 2 weeks ago. So this past 2 weeks, we've had a lot of inventory in Carmel and Westfield. 13 of those 36 pended, but a total of 37 pended, so we lost inventory. The average days on market in Westfield is always high because of all the new builds, but the average for the past 7 days was 74 and the median was 48. 102 sold in the past 30 days with an average days of 59, so Westfield's days on market actually went up. There's 203 currently on the market with average days of 83. So Westfield is just because of those stats all include all those new builds. Yep. That's just, they're all sitting for a long time. Zionsville, 4 hit the market. 3 of them pended of those, but 8 total pended. So we lost all the market, all the inventory there times 2. 31 sold in the past 30 days with an average day of 46. This past 7 days was 38. So their days on market are coming down a little bit. 47 currently on the market in Zionsville with an average day of 126. So that's 126 compared to this past 7 days of 38.
Wow.
I'm curious to see how new construction performs this summer.
Yeah.
Because they're offering a ton of incentives right now.
It's the hardest thing to compete against when you have a resale 4-year-old home or 2-year-old home because they're offering a 2.8 interest rate first year, 3.8 second year. So that's hard. But
I don't see a lot of buyers jumping at it either. Isn't that odd?
I don't, but I just think that I've talked to a couple people. They showed my houses that are new, and they're like, yeah, they're looking at 30 houses. I'm like, holy cow, 30 houses. So
when somebody calls me and says, oh, I'm sorry, we're going to be about a half hour late. We're running behind, and I'm like, how many houses have you seen?
I know. I love to ask that question. How many are you looking at today?
I finally did the past, this week twice I've had that, and I go, how many are you seeing? And they're like, well, we're on our 7th one, and I'm like, oh, are we back to that?
Yeah.
I won't show more than 6 or 7 in a day.
I won't either. Usually
to
a single. It's overwhelming to them. It doesn't do any
They
service.
just blurs together.
Yeah, it does. It blurs for me. Can you imagine what it does for them?
And then they want feedback. You're like, oh. So I'm taking notes all the time on mine.
I used to, though. I can remember back in the day, I'd show 14 in a day, and I was like, what?
There was one point in time, in my career, I was averaging out. I was like, okay, how many homes do I show a week? It was 40 homes a week. Yeah. So I was showing.
It's just not good for the client.
No. That's multiple clients, but 40 homes. But I agree.
To see more than 7 or 8 in a day, because it's just too much.
It is a lot. So
well, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, how would they get a hold of you?
They can call me or text me 317-363-0842. I am freaky fast at responding. Or they can email me at talktolauraturner@gmail.com.
You're like Jimmy John's about real estate.
I know. So awesome. It is. Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
Well, I'm glad you came on. We'll have you on again. I'm Kyle Morris with Morris Property Group and FC Tucker. My number is 317-649-5122.
I'm Shelly Walters with the Shelly Walters Realty Group and FC Tucker, 317-201-2601. See you next week.